I'll let the diehard Florida State fan kick it off. Give me some of your takeaways. Complain all you want, man. The floor is absolutely yours.
You know, surprisingly enough, I'm not gonna complain too terribly much. That's been the narrative going on social media right now. I gotta tip the cap to Tech though. Way to show up, way to play a really good game, physical game.
Yep,
Um, Harder than anyone expected them to show out.
absolutely.
They wanted it more, man. I gotta give it to them where it's due. I knew they weren't gonna roll over for us. I knew it.
Right.
I said it
Yeah,
last week or a few days ago, as a matter of fact.
right. When
Um,
we did our prediction.
but like I said, a lackluster performance on defense today.
Yeah.
Very lackluster performance.
Mhm.
We we just we struggled, especially on the edge and lack of
Yeah.
sacks. It was
0.
rough, very
Yeah.
rough,
Yeah, it
very
was a
rough
rough
outing
outing
today.
for Florida State today, no doubt, man. And when you talk about how the defense was an absolute letdown, we talked about it on the show on Tuesday, how this was one of the best defenses in the country, definitely one of the best defenses in the conference. So they give up 336 total yards today, 190 yards on the ground. And Georgia
Absolutely.
Tech came out right at the beginning, and we knew from the first drive that's what the hell they were going to do. And we saw last year they were the number one team in the ACC for rush yards per game. Jamal Haynes, we know Haynes King had 10 touchdowns and over 700 yards on the ground last year with his legs. But when you just look at
Yep.
everything that Florida State was not able to do to Georgia Tech, they weren't able to get them off third down on some of those long
Oh
conversions.
yeah, third
They
down
didn't
conversion.
force them into any fourth downs that they actually went for it on. But if you look overall outside of that defense, it was a pretty damn even game. 30 and a half minutes of time of possession for Florida State, 29 minutes and 21 seconds for Georgia Tech. No turnovers for either team, although we did have two fumbles, of course, pop out for Georgia Tech. Only 4 penalties in this game. And let's just give credit to Ireland and to Aer Lingus for this entire kickoff and just an amazing start to allow us to bring our sport over there because it was just absolutely
Absolutely.
great coverage. It was absolutely great coverage of this game, dude. And when I was looking in the first half, it was really showing that those 17 transfers from Florida State were really, like they were definitely still shaking some of the rust off. DJU in the first half was 12 for 14, and he had negative zero point 0.1 air
One
yards on
yard.
average. It was showing signs of still having to warm up. He had to move the ball better. But talk about a way to start the season in the first
Oh
drive that
yeah.
Florida State came out with. The run game, the O line was blocking and making gaps. And then shout out the special teams of Florida State in this game as well, going for two to just absolutely felt like it blew the game open in a way. And they took the 8-0 lead. And then Georgia Tech said, we're going to show you what we're doing on the first drive, early, often, 6 plays, 5 runs, one of which was a 40-yard plus run by Jamal Haynes, touchdown drive. And they continued running the football on Florida State all damn day
Oh, yeah, we could
long.
not contain the run at all. That was
It,
our
it
weak point. That was a significant weak point. And to piggyback what you said, respect to Ireland, I got Irish roots, obviously, but being an FSU fan today wasn't exactly what we had hoped for.
Yep,
You know, but it like you said, the run game, they ran it down our throat. We could not
literally.
contain the run.
And y'all
That was
couldn't
the
turn
big
around and run it
problem.
on them.
Absolutely. That was a big game changer there. They did play an even game, even keeled game for the most
Right,
part. It just
right,
came down to the wire.
right.
To give an example, like your Bulldogs a few years back, that South Carolina game. I know it probably haunts you a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
That
Make the damn kick.
that field goal, man. It sometimes
And
it
Jake
comes
Fromm
down to
played
plays
horrible
like
too.
that.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
just want to clear the air real quick. Um, I've seen a lot of hate on DJU's first outing for
yeah.
FSU. This is
Right,
his first game. Like you said, we got 17 transfers in there.
right. This is his
Um,
third game. Excuse me. This is his third team in 3 season openers. I don't think people
exactly,
process that. Clemson, Oregon
exactly.
State,
Third
FSU.
playbook. Yeah,
Exactly, exactly.
and
Now, while that is
and
kinda common for college, there that does still factor in, and I even
right.
said, "DJU could look a little rusty early on." That 251-pound quarterback did he play kinda sloppy today. I was a little
Oh,
disappointed in him.
absolutely. I was too. The completion rating, I was semi okay with that, but
Yeah,
the yards on the ground, I was very concerned with that. 7
yeah,
yards rushing? Ooh,
right.
that's tough. That is very tough.
And to even speak on your rushing yards there, y'all only had 90 rushing yards against the worst ranked rushing defense last year, which shocked me. But then when you take a look at it, the new defensive hires that Georgia Tech just brought in, Toafili and Williams were non-factors. And
I
then you
know.
turn around. I'm sorry, Alan, but after Haynes King and Jamal Haynes today, bro, they have earned the title of Haynes and Haynes runners at law. These guys had 26 carries for 129 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hey, Haynes King, obviously player of the game. And Georgia Tech's defense really could have got that nod also, man, holding y'all to 5 of 12 on third down. And, I will say, neither quarterback was impressive today. Combined, they didn't even throw for 300 yards. But when you look at the spots of the game that DJU had to step up in, and he didn't. And Haynes King did. Haynes King played better in bigger spots than DJU
Absolutely.
did and showed more mental toughness, showed a little more grit than DJ did at certain times. And, Haynes even had a few overthrows in this game that really could have busted this game open, specifically talking about that corner
Absolutely.
route that was overthrown in the end zone. I was
Yep.
like, Florida State had some coverage lapses today. That ACC defense was looking a little odd, man, for sure. Now we did see DJ get a little settled in after the half somewhat, and then a little later in the fourth
Oh, yeah,
quarter,
in the
but he
second
did
half.
have some.
Yeah.
Right. He did have some key misses as well, and he finally started to finally started to really pick up on those third down blitz packages that he was getting thrown at him because Georgia Tech realized once they got off the edge a couple times and made DJU move off his spot, they just kept sending those third down blitz packages at him, trying to disguise those blitzes really to really be able to throw him off. And DJU had the throw to Douglas that was reviewed and then ruled complete. He had the four. So the best part of the game where DJ really showed that he is a competitor and an outright baller. Two straight fourth down conversions with the game on the line, and DJU and Mike Norvell in that offense punch it in for a
Absolutely.
touchdown.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, it
And
just
that's why Florida
came.
State fans should be happy, bro, because DJU did
Yeah.
that.
Yes, yes,
DJU
he
did
did.
that with his back against the wall in the college football opener when Georgia Tech had all the momentum. Really, once Florida State went up 8-0, let's just call it what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Georgia Tech had 3 straight touchdowns.
They sure
They
did.
didn't
We
kick a
could
field
not
goal until
stop
they
them.
had to win it. Exactly.
To quote the great Nick Saban, they ran through us like crap through a tin horn, and we couldn't stop them.
Right.
Could not stop them. That run
Right.
game, it was insane. I
Right.
mean, we had no answer for it. But
Right.
like I said, I've seen nothing but just clear blame on DJU for this. I'm like, it's not entirely his fault. This is a
Not at
total
all.
team loss. We
He
lost
missed
in
some key.
all phases of the
Right.
game. I
Right.
mean, you can't blame it all on the general marching you downfield. You
Nope.
know, defense was clearly the clear and cut problem.
Yeah.
Like I said, couldn't contain the edge, could
Nope.
not sack the quarterback. We could not
Nope.
get after Haynes King, man. He was getting
Nope.
out of there, throwing passes, getting good looks. I mean,
Literally, I
he
said, how many times are they going to let this guy run and not have a spy on him? Option to the outside, option to the outside, option up the middle, run up the middle. That was all they did.
right.
And
They
then
were running
Jamal
two
Haynes
deep safeties on
himself.
defense the whole time. It's like, God.
Exactly. Exactly. Jamal Haynes himself, 15 for 75 and 2 touchdowns. And I will give some credit to Florida State as well, because although they did let off some big runs to some of those players, they did good in spots to hold them to the run. But again, we know how the run game is. You pound
Right.
it, you pound it, you pound it, you pound it. And on that 8th, ninth, 12th, 17th carry, that defense doesn't have as long to breathe when you got a guy
Absolutely.
like Haynes King or Jamal Haynes coming up that backfield. And when you have guys like Patrick Payton that are possibly getting gas, that was also shocking, bro. No
Oh,
sacks in
yeah.
this game.
Nope.
Florida State had no sacks. They had no turnovers despite 2 fumbles from Georgia Tech, but I'm not going to hold them to 2, just one. Haynes King had a bad snap with the jet motion coming across. And there was the one that was recoverable, but you saw
Mhm.
Haynes King dive for it. The players kind of lost it behind their back. It was just a moment that, Florida State really needed to capitalize on. And you talk about the motion, the jet motion, the eye candy, the sweeps across the
Oh,
field. Florida
yeah.
State could not handle that, man.
Yeah.
Everybody in the country just figured out how to stifle the Seminoles. And
Yes.
that's not
Yes,
to
they
put
did.
this team, out to dry, because clearly when you're, I'm not going to say exposed, but when you're beat on a national stage as 12-point favorites, as 20 game straight winners
Yep.
to a team that was 0-15 in their last 10 top 10 matchups. Excuse me, 0-15 in their last 15 top 10 matchups. And the last time they won was against you guys with the block kick in 2015. People are going to
2015,
take tape
Everett
from that.
Golson. I remember it like yesterday. Oof.
Exactly.
Still leaves
People
a
are
bad taste in my
going
mouth.
to take note of that.
Yep. And it like I said earlier, it was a overall. just a team loss. And I got to give credit where credit's due. Mike Norvell even addressed this in the press conference after the game. He said, I didn't put positions players, I didn't put players in position. Sorry,
Good.
um, to make key plays when it mattered. And
Right.
I like that accountability from Coach Norvell because we know what he's capable of.
Yeah.
We know his resume. We know what
W
what he brings to the
Mhm.
table here.
We see players
Um,
and people in the league and even around other sports all the time throwing teammates under the bus. Coaches talking about, "Well, if,
Absolutely,
we wouldn't have ran this play." And it's like, "Okay, you're not saying a name, but only one person made that play." You know what I'm saying? And Mike Norvell took it on the
absolutely.
nose, man.
Yep, like a
As
man.
the most pissed off team in college football, it looked like Georgia Tech was the most pissed off team in college football today. I
Yeah,
mean,
sure.
they came to play, dog.
And I get the
They
media prowess behind it too, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we were whining, we were complaining, we didn't make the playoff, yada, yada, yada." I get it. That's last season,
Oof.
though. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
this
yeah.
season,
Right.
you
If
know?
y'all wanna tell us to put last season behind us, don't bring up stuff that has to do with last season to
Thank
try
you.
to justify your angle on us. I'm right there with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I mean, this is a new season, and I was here last time we did the show, I was
Yeah.
advocating for Georgia Tech. I was like, "Man,
Yeah, you told me to watch
they're
out.
not to be messed with. They're
You told
not
me
to
to
be
watch
messed
out.
with." Haynes King is a threat. We
Yeah,
saw
he was.
today.
Yeah, he was.
I
He
mean,
outplayed DJ today, bro, straight up. And that's
straight up,
crazy as
in
hell to
every
say.
facet of the game. It is
Yep.
crazy to say with as
Yep.
much experience that DJ has under his belt. He was just a better quarterback today.
Yep. He
He
was.
didn't wake up till the 4th quarter, unfortunately for
Uh-uh.
DJ.
Right.
Once they got it rolling, they made some good strides, some good, some great plays, some things that I think will carry on throughout the season, will improve on throughout the season, especially next
Right.
week on Boston College. I'm not
Right.
expecting to stomp them out of the water either, but because they gave us a run for our money last season. But
Mhm.
like us, they lost players. So, it could be an even keeled matchup there. But at the same time, we gotta look at what went wrong today and attack that.
Yep. Got to get stronger in the trenches. Got to pick up those blitzes better.
Oh yeah.
And DJU just has to play better in bigger spots. Last moment before I let you get out of here, and I'll tackle some NFL content. Georgia Tech's head coach Brent Key has now recorded 10 outright wins as an underdog.
Yep.
10.
Nothing but respect for Brent.
He is 5-0 against ranked ACC opponents in his tenure in just 2 years, I believe it is, at Georgia Tech.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. After today, they showed us why they deserve to be in that conversation for that ACC chip. I'm not saying
Yeah.
they're going, but you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if they don't.
Right.
Way Haynes King was playing ball today. You know,
Right.
like I said, they showed us why they're a great team, and it
Hmm.
came down to the wire that final play, and great games usually do that.
Right.
But we gotta pick up the pieces and then focus on Boston College next week. Once a no,
Right.
always a no. I bleed garden and gold. You know that, and
Hmm.
I'm gonna stick with my team, ride or die.
100%, bro. Trying to make sure we're on YouTube. Yep, we are. Okay, cool. I thought for some reason that we weren't. I'm so glad we got to cover this game, man. Like I said, guys,
Absolutely.
the double A is going to be a weekly podcast or possibly a segment of the show, but it is going to be weekly. Adam, Allen, going to be a great segment. We will
Yep.
be on Tuesday. Again, I'm about to let him drop out. I'm going to tackle some NFL here. We'll be on Tuesday. We're going to the opener for Georgia in Atlanta against Clemson on Saturday. We will have a pregame show. Not sure of the destination yet. Still trying to kind of work out the equipment and the logistics of internet connection to make sure you guys can hear us out in the parking lot while we're tailgating and everything. But we really want to bring you guys some on the scene content as much as possible. This will be my first
Absolutely.
college game. Alan was super psyched to go with me. We kind of pulled it off last minute. But it's going to be great. We love y'all's support. We've already seen the support, what's coming on the podcast, and we're super grateful to have the Double A be a part of the NFL with AJL and just really have some extensive college football coverage, man. But Alan, as always, I appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely.
Don't hold your
No
head too
problem
low
at all.
because, like I said,
Oh yeah,
DJU is a
no.
competitor. It's the
11 more
first game of
games.
the year. Exactly. It's the first game of the year. It's the best college football season we're ever about to experience. The stakes were high, bro. I mean, we're in
Absolutely.
Ireland for the first time ever. It's crazy. But y'all definitely got some stripes in today. Exactly. You definitely got some stripes in today. DJ, you got a taste of what it's going to be like in that
Yeah, like
ACC, whether it is a neutral side or not. And I think Florida State fans, all things considered, should still hold their heads high at the end of this one. But